Hello, and welcome back to the Get Up and Glow podcast. I'm your host, Madison Haynes, and in today's episode, we have something very exciting. Today, I am welcoming the host of the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast. Her name is Laura, and I am so excited to chat with her today. Today's episode is going to be all about style, fashion, glow up tips for the summer, something a little bit more lighthearted. You know, I was in the mood to do or make this podcast like a 2000s girly movie vibes today. You know, back when I was in high school, I felt like it was a little bit easier to follow the trends or just like know what was trending. And now in my mid-20s, I honestly flock to TikTok just to figure out what is in. And obviously, as I aged, I've learned how to incorporate the trends and still feel like I'm having fun with fashion while also still finding my own unique style, building the confidence to wear what I wanted to wear, etc., etc. But as the years go on, I find it harder to figure out how to mesh my style with the trends and continue to evolve with the trends, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been stuck in a little bit of a fashion slump, which is why I have Laura, the host of the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast, today to chat all things fashion, all things glow up, and share her thoughts on what's in and what's not. On Laura's podcast, she shares how you can embark on your own unique journey to becoming your best self and live the life you want to live, which is completely on brand with the Get Up and Glow podcast. Laura aspires to become a journalist girly and recently interned at the Summer Media Institute at the University of Florida. Her podcast is packed full of great tips for how you can glow up, how you can build confidence, and become your best self. At only 17 years old, her content is truly so good, so inspiring, and given her age, she knows what's in, what's trending, and she's gonna help us girlies out today. So today we are getting the secrets directly from the source. So without further ado, let's welcome Laura, the host of the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast. Hi, Laura, what is up? Welcome to the Get Up and Glow podcast. I'm so excited to have you on.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be collaborating with you.
Amazing, as am I. So first and foremost, do you want to introduce yourself, your podcast, and what it's all about?
Of course. So, like Madison said, my name is Laura, and I'm the host of the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast. I started the podcast, or I was really inspired to start it by just my interest in listening to podcasts that I really connect with, podcasts that I really love. Especially ones that were started by young women that really aren't that far from my age. I'm 17 years old, but I hear some that are like 19, 20, which really isn't that far from me. So I thought, why can't I start my own? And what my podcast is really about is just making teens and young adults feel related to and comforted. And that's kind of the idea of the name. It's thought dump. So it's like your thoughts being completely just dumped out, whatever you're thinking. I like to keep it real and just share my experiences and share hope to self-improvement and get better as a teen and going into young adulthood.
That is amazing. I love unfiltered content. I think it's so important, and I think so many people can relate to it and benefit from it. And I love that you're a self-improvement girly as well. That's what my podcast is all about. So I'm so excited for us to be collaborating today. With that being said, let's get right into it. So I have so much to unpack and so many different questions I'd like to ask you. So with that being said, the whole reason I started or thought about this topic was from a movie I saw recently, and it was so good. So if anyone listening, or if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. It's called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which basically discusses like the process so many girls go through with like the evolution of becoming a woman. So like building confidence, finding your own unique style, and the pressure to fit in with others. It's just such a relatable movie. And I think many women can also relate or remember for like when they first started learning about style or feeling pressured to dress like the other girls. So my first question for you would be, when and how did you first start getting interested in fashion, and who did you go to or what did you go to for your glow up tips?
Okay, well, my fashion interest has definitely been quite an evolution because I've gone through several different phases with my fashion, but the first one I can remember was in like early middle school. I kind of wanted to be alternative, have something a little different, kind of a little like a grungy style. That was just kind of the phase I was in. I think what I was wearing, which was like darker clothes. Nothing, it never got too extreme with my style where I had like dark eyeliner, really like dark makeup and things like that. But it was mainly just me wearing darker, kind of edgier clothes, baggier clothes. I even had like a little belt chain. So I was kind of wearing that, and I think it was just reflective of how I was feeling at the time. I wasn't going through a great time in my personal life, and that just kind of reflected to what I was wearing. So I think that like what we wear reflects how we're feeling a lot. But after a couple of years, it completely shifted, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with this alternative style. I want to be like everyone else. I just wanted to like fit in, be normal. And what was normal at the time was like the Simply Southern shirts and like Nike leggings and scrunchies. I think I was in like seventh or eighth grade at the time, and that was just like that's what it was. So I like begged my mom, like, please, can I just get like a Simply Southern shirt? That's what everyone else has. She was like, okay, we got a couple of those. So then I just wanted to look like everyone else. Like I just wanted to be normal, fit in. But that didn't last for too long because I just didn't feel like it was like true to me, and that's like actually how I was feeling. So I quickly shifted back into my alternative style. And then once I got into high school, I want to say like my freshman year, I still had my alternative style, but it started to shift once I got a new friend group. So I feel like the people we hang out with, the friends we're with, are very reflective of us and play a big influence on us. And at least I know I was at the time, and I still am sometimes, a very influential person. I'm easily influenced by the people around me. So that new group that I was with, it was a church group, and what the girls wore were more like crop tops, maybe tighter fitting tops and jeans. So I kind of wore things that showed more skin, a little bit tighter, just because that's what the people around me were wearing, and I wanted to fit in more and look more like them. So it was very reflective of the friend group I was with at the time, and I just wanted to look like them. But after a couple of years, I kind of left that like friend group. I wasn't really friends with those people anymore. So I started hanging out with other people, and I think my school where I'm at, it happens to be that it's quite diverse. There isn't a whole lot of cliques, and like I feel like everyone kind of just has their own style. So I think that just kind of encouraged me to be like, wait, I don't really need to be dressing like anyone in particular. I just wear what I want to wear because I just keep changing depending on who I'm around, and that's not really who I am. So I decided to just wear what I was comfortable in. And as far as glowing up, I would say I didn't really go to a person like, oh my gosh, like how do I? Well, I think I just kind of almost subconsciously got inspired by like Pinterest. I really love like the outfits on there, and not just outfits, just like makeup and like skincare. So I feel like Pinterest has been a big glow up inspiration for me.
I love that. And I love what you said about it's so true, but being influenced by people. I know that was like the exact same progression for me. I got first inspired by fashion, honestly, by the movies. And I feel like everything I do is inspired by, well, movies back then, now it's TikTok. But it's so true. And I feel like I went through the same thing where like I went through what everyone else was wearing. And then I went through like the whole like tight crop top, really like, short
Yes.
phase, which was a vibe. And then like, I know for me too, like I feel like I felt pressured to just wear almost like whatever clothing that I thought was like my identity for like at that moment. So like with COVID, I was like, it's gonna be loungewear and cottagecore stuff, and like I've always just went so hard into it. Or when I first got a job, I was like, I have to be corporate and I can't wear the tight clothing because it's gonna not represent my corporate life. But now I'm just in a spot where I feel like I just wake up and I'm like, what mood am I in today? And I just pick
Yes.
whatever outfit is, and it's such a freeing experience, truly.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so my next question for you, well, essentially, many women I know struggle with self confidence, as do I, and I know a lot of girls hold themselves back from wearing what they want to wear out of fear like they're gonna be judged. For me, I remember when I like before bodysuits essentially were a thing, I tucked into my shirt into my jeans because I was like, oh, this looks cute. So I went to school thinking, oh, I look so good. I feel feeling so confident, and I instantly got made fun of by one of these like cool but mean guys at school, and I like instantly untucked it, and I was so sad, and I still remember it to this day. Like I'm healed, but it was traumatizing back when I was really young, because like things like that really do affect you before you get to build your self-confidence or as you were building building your self-confidence as a woman. And I know many other women have similar stories to that. So my question for you is, have you ever been made fun of for a stylistic choice, or slash, and how do you find the confidence just to be true to your own unique style and beauty and not necessarily have to copy other people for that inspiration? Like, you just own it.
Gosh, I love this question. It's so honest because you have like that story. Honestly, I can't remember a time where someone has just like come to my face and been like, "Oh, I don't like that's stupid," or "I don't like what you're wearing." I really can't remember. I get this like feeling that it did happen at some point, but if I can't remember it specifically, it must have not impacted me that much.
That's so
But I
good
get a
though.
feeling it probably
Like, I love that for
yeah,
you.
I don't know.
I
I
love
feel
that.
like maybe, yeah, I honestly don't know. I feel like it might have happened. I don't know, but I honestly can't remember a specific time. I don't know why. Like, maybe I was just kind of like in the clouds and I was just like, whatever. I don't know
That's the
what
way
my
it should be.
mindset was.
I love that.
Sometimes it's better that way. Yeah.
Truly.
But I don't know, like I said with my high school earlier, I mean, it's hard for me to remember for some reason. Like middle school and elementary school I had a uniform school, so style was just not like a thing. But at my high school, it's a quite a big high school. It's about 4,000 kids, so it's pretty big. I feel like it's not that clicky maybe compared to other high schools or what you might see in like the high school movies. It seems like, so close knit, but I feel like there's a lot of diversity of style, and of course there are like certain girls and guys that do dress alike, but for the general sense, I feel like it's just not as close knit as maybe some other schools are. So I feel like I'm lucky that way, and I feel it gives me a little bit more of an ability to feel confident to just wear what I want to wear. And I'm lucky that I have friends that I feel like sometimes they wear things that are different. I think it's cool. And maybe if they wear something that I don't really think is cool, I don't really judge because it's not, I mean, if they feel confident in it, good for them. But I think to find your own unique style and beauty, you just need to realize a few things. And I think number one is that honestly, I feel like nobody really cares. Like, which I don't know if that sounds harsh, but I think if someone's taking the time and energy to make fun of you or judge what you're wearing, that's their problem, not yours. Like, if you like what you're wearing, you feel comfortable in it, you think it's cool. If you think it's cool before you walk out the door into school, then it's cool. But yeah, I think just realizing that no one really cares if someone is caring enough, that's on them, not you. Also, I think it's more important how you wear something than what you're wearing, because you could be wearing the like most beautiful dress ever, but if you look miserable or maybe you have like really bad posture, it doesn't look the same, right? It's not going to look as good. So it's more about how you wear it than what you're wearing. Also, I think people value authenticity over dressing like everyone else. I've noticed that the times that I've gotten complimented for clothing, it's been because I'm wearing something just a little bit different, a little, and it's more like unique to me. So I think people notice it a lot more and they value more when you're true to yourself and unique to yourself rather than just wearing what everyone else wears.
I love that. That was so good, and it's so true. I'm just like, no one really cares. Wear what you want. It doesn't matter. And if someone is going to judge you, then who they don't that their opinion doesn't matter. Like, rock it. And it's so true about, it's not what you wear, but it's how you wear it. Because like, I will see some girlies out on the street wearing just like the typical clothes, but it's just like their confidence, like you said, their posture, the way they walk and carry themselves. So I'm like, oh my gosh, she is that girl. Like, how can I look good in something like that? And I think when people are like, oh, I wish I could look like that, I think it's honestly the demeanor that they give off. So
Yeah.
that's so true. And that's such a good tip. You like integrated a little glow up tip in your answer. I love it so much. That was so great.
Yeah, because I think when you think of like the runway models or like even people at like Met Galas and stuff, sometimes what they wear is just like weird, but they look good because they look confident, they're standing up straight, they look put together. So yeah, it's a lot of just how you wear it.
That's so catch me walking out in like crazy outfits, just like with my little model walk on the street and just owning it.
It changes it, yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so I talk a lot about TikTok on my podcast, especially just in relation to this, like the aesthetics or the new trends. I'm a TikTok girl. I know that so many new trends on TikTok or just in general on socials seem to be popping up every single day, like the clean girl aesthetic, the that girl aesthetic, to like the Sophia Richie old money style, which I'm obsessed with. So I want to know, what are your favorite TikTok beauty or fashion trends at the moment, and how do you incorporate them into your own current and unique beauty style and routine?
Okay, I love this question because I love all the like aesthetics. And when I get into an aesthetic, I try to make that like everything. I'm like, oh, everything has to match. But the problem is I feel like I'm so many different aesthetics. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna wear whatever aesthetic I'm feeling that day. And I'm just gonna be multiple. But I would say currently my favorites are the Vanilla Girl aesthetic, the Clean Girl, and the Sophia Richie Old Money aesthetic. I really like that one too. I would say as far as like the Clean Girl, I think I incorporate that in like my makeup. I try to do, I think it's called like the no makeup, where you try to make it look as natural as possible. I like to do that just because like I've never, honestly, I've never been a big makeup person. I don't really know how to do it that well. I don't have a lot of like expensive makeup. So I just try to go simple and make myself look clean because it makes me feel better because I think when you are clean, you just feel like mentally cleaner. So I like to incorporate it that way. And just the way I dress, I like to feel like neat with, minimal, like dainty kind of jewelry. So that's how I really like to include that. For the Vanilla Girl, I like to do more light colored things. I mean, not all the time because I'm not going to completely shift my whole wardrobe just like, oh, I like this aesthetic now. But I do like to, and again, I think the gold jewelry, like the dainty gold jewelry, or like the white nails, I really like to incorporate the vanilla that way. I think with smells, like, matching my perfume with my deodorant and my lotion, and getting that like vanilla smell. I really like doing that, really like matching my scents. And for the old money, I feel like I don't really have that many places where I really get to wear it because for me, like going to high school, I just feel like it wouldn't really be appropriate for me to wear like an old money aesthetic. It would be a little too formal. But I think that as I get older, maybe I go into college, or if I were to get a more corporate job, I would be more into like the old money aesthetic. But if I get the chance, I do like to incorporate it a little bit, that more like dressier style if I am going to an event or something. It just doesn't come up as much, so I don't really get to have that style as much, but I do like it a lot.
I love that. And that's so true. Like, I find I have so many different loves for different aesthetics. And I just can't, like, I talk about often on the podcast to not go and just be like, I love this aesthetic and buy everything and completely change your wardrobe because, well, A, it's not sustainable or affordable for a lot of people. But B, like, I feel like I'll, like, be so into one and then, like, the next week I'm in a different mood and like I completely switch. So I always am like, let's thrift it, etc., etc. But that is so true. I remember making the mistake back in the cottage core era. I think that was like during COVID, and I just went and like I went hard into it for a really long time, and my entire wardrobe after I came out of it was just like cottage core dresses, and I'm like, no, like what am I gonna do? So I've learned like to appreciate multiple different trends and just like buy little pieces that I know are gonna last me a long time and just like play with whatever mood I'm in during that day and like kind of mix the aesthetics. But the Vanilla Girl is one that I stick through like true and true. And then I don't even know if like pink is an aesthetic. I guess the pink Pilates princess for me. I feel like
there's an aesthetic for everything. Like, everybody's got, yeah.
That's so true. You can just brand anything as like either an era or an aesthetic. I love it. That's so much fun, but that's so true. And I also love what you said about vanilla. Like when you were talking about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to like run right now and grab my Victoria's Secret vanilla body spray and vanilla deodorant and like just coat myself in it because I don't know, the way you were describing that, it was like, wow, ultimate self-care vibes. Like I'm ready.
Yes, I feel like matching the smells just like brings it to another level, just like with that, like, yeah.
Yeah, and that's something never even considered. So in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, like I love hearing glow up or fashion. This is exactly why I wanted to do this topic, because it's so fun. And like, I love getting the tips from other girls, because like, that's how I always like evolve my style or get the best tips. So thank you so much, truly. Speaking of glow up tips, again, the best way to glow up is honestly to listen to TikToks, listen to podcasts, or get tips from other women, especially. So what are your best glow up tips, and for summer specifically?
Okay, so I'd say number one, I would say just start by being honest with yourself, because I feel like we said, it's easy to shift from like era to era, or maybe just kind of go off of like the people you're around and kind of dress like them. So I think to really just be honest, be like, okay, what do I actually like to wear? What do I actually feel comfortable in without any other influence, or maybe what other people are wearing, that is what you like, and that's totally fine. But just really being honest with yourself about what you do like to wear and what style is true to you. Because when you're the most comfortable, I think you look the best because you're going to be the most confident. But as far as like little things, like for one thing, like skincare, personally, I've never had too much of a big issue with acne. I know a lot of other people get it much worse than I have, and I know it can be for a lot of different things, hormones, or I have friends who they say it's from what they eat. Like if they eat dairy, it causes them to have really bad breakouts. Personally, I just get it from getting oily. I get some acne, and what cures it pretty much is just an acne face wash, like twice a day. That pretty much cleans it up, but I know it is different. But establishing some kind of routine and consistency in whatever it is you're doing, like let's say if you want to get more fit, just making sure that you are doing whatever workout it is that you want to do consistently. If you're trying to grow your eyelashes, make sure you're putting in your eyelash serum consistently. So whatever it is you're trying to improve or get better at, just establishing a sense of consistency is really going to make a difference in helping you glow up. With that said, I feel like glowing up, I'm a big believer in glowing up takes the mind and the body. So I think it's really crucial that you get your head in check and make sure you are feeling your best and you're in a good headspace, because I really believe that even if you have the most silky, beautiful hair, you have the longest eyelashes, best skin, if you don't feel good and you're not mentally in a good place, it's not going to show, it's not going to bring out that energy that you want, and you're not going to feel good. Because I feel like ultimately the goal in glowing up is not only to look good, but to feel good. So just really getting your head in check, and I think that could be as easy as just like getting a journal, being introspective, or maybe even just looking at the people that are around you, being like, are these people really good influences on me? Are they helping me like build myself, or are they kind of making me feel bad? Just really thinking about where you're at and being honest with yourself and trying to improve.
I love that. And that is such a good point, because I feel like if you're surrounded by bad people, or just like your headspace, you're just not in the right headspace, I feel like self-care, it almost just goes out the window, or at least to the extent where you feel like you're glowing up, because you just physically cannot do that. So it's so true. And I know we're going to be talking about that on your podcast soon, which is exciting. So you guys, but by the time this goes out, if you're listening, head on over to the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast. We'll finish listening to this first, but then head on over for more on that, because that's such a good point. But that's so true. And also like, about the double cleansing with an acne wash, the CeraVe acne foaming cleanser paired with the CeraVe retinol changed my life. It's so true. And the double cleansing, which is what you mentioned, is such a good tip, because I never used to have acne. I was like you, and then I got a hormonal birth control a few years back, and my face just completely broke out, like the worst it's ever been. I remember crying, being so upset because my acne was so bad, and double cleansing was what really, I think, did it for me and got my skin under control. So I love that tip. That was great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I feel like simplicity gets overlooked a lot. I feel like things as simple as just like washing your face when it gets oily. Maybe like I do it in the morning and before I go to bed at least, or maybe after I work out because I get sweaty. That's a good time to do it too. Just the simple things make a big difference.
Oh, so true. I feel like the starter pack for me for like glow ups is double cleansing, patting your face dry instead of like with a clean towel instead of like using like the dirty hand towel. That was a game changer for me. And like as simple as like I use a white eyeliner on my waterline. I got that from TikTok, and I don't know, maybe I'm just like, it's one of those things where I'm in love with it now, and I'll look back in 3 months being like, well, what was I thinking? But I'm like, wow, like the way it completely changes my appearance off of this like one $4 eyeliner is unreal. So it's so true in what you say, but like the simple things can make the biggest difference. Okay, so let's get into the next question. So this one's a little bit more of a personal question in terms of like me, which is what shoes do you style your outfits with? Because I wear dresses year round, and I am stuck on only being able to wear ballet flats because I have no idea like what the trending thing is to pair with dresses or just pair with outfits in general. Because I either go to that or I'm still stuck in my thigh-high black boot era, which was like 2017. I haven't been able to break out of it because I just like don't know what the trending shoes are, like what to like pair, like the right outfits to play shoes with. It's so difficult for me, and I see all of these younger people like rocking it with their sneakers or rocking with some different shoes, and I have no idea. So please, if you can shed light, give me your secrets to get me out of my era of black thigh-high boots. It'd be much appreciated. What are your favorite go-to shoes for casual or semi-formal fits?
Of course, I'm here for you. Okay, so honestly, I'm a pretty simple shoe person. I have a few that I like to use, but I have two main ones that I use for like almost everything. And that's going to be one, my Air Force Ones. Those are my absolute go-to because they go with pretty much everything, like jeans, shorts. I love them. They go with pretty much everything. And the other pair is they're not Birkenstocks, but they're like Birkenstocks. That's the best way I can describe them. But like I found them at a thrift store. But that's what they look like. Yeah, I found them at a thrift store, but I love to wear them with like sweatpants for like a more casual fit, or even with like longer, like flowy pants. I like them. So those are my main ones that I wear a lot, and I feel like they go with a lot of things. Um, but as far as like more dressier type things, I don't have a lot where I really need to wear dressier things, but I do have this one club that I do at school. It's called BPA, stands for Business Professionals of America. So it's basically we just compete in different business events, and we have to dress like business casual. So I need like a business outfit for that. So I do wear like ballet type flats. They're just black ballet flats, and they have a little emblem. I think it's like Tory Burch, is like a gold emblem on them. So it's pretty simple. And I look around and I see what like a lot of the other girls wear at the events, and it's pretty much the same thing. Some wear like black heels. I feel like heels are really common, but personally, I can't walk in heels very well, especially like the skinnier ones. I can't do it. It hurts too much. But if you are a heels person, I feel like those always look really nice and they make your legs look really nice. I have seen these like heels. It was like this girl on Shark Tank where they had these heels now where you can like remove the heel. I thought those were super interesting. Yeah, I have not tried them, and I haven't seen any reviews on them, but I saw them, so I know they exist. But that might be something cool to check out and try. But for dresses, because I know you mentioned that, I don't wear dresses a lot, but if I do, I have these sandals, really just like kind of golden sandals, like to wear that. And honestly, sometimes I'll even wear sneakers with dresses. I feel like that's pretty common. You can't go wrong with Converse. I have some high top Converses that I like to use for working out because I do a lot of like weightlifting. So you're gonna want to have like a flat shoe, so I like them for that. But even Converse with like a casual sundress, like that's popular. And I think just for anything, like Converse is just a very timeless shoe that goes with a lot of things. So that's a good go-to one. But that's pretty much it. I'm not a huge shoe person. I know some people are more into like Jordans and like those ones. Personally, I'm just not into that, or like the chunky type tennis shoes. I know those are popular, like the New Balances. I think they're cute, but they can be pretty expensive. So I think if you have a couple like good reliable pairs, I think that's pretty much all you will need.
I love that. I know it can be so overwhelming because now like the espadrilles or like those like big, almost like I don't even know what to call them, like those chunky shoes are in. And I'm like, I have no idea. I feel like I'm like so old styling my ballet flats, but thank you so much for telling me that you also wear them because I'm like, okay,
Yes.
I'm still trending. I'm still cool. Like, and we're all about just like embracing your own style anyways. And I honestly do it for comfort, but I too have a pair of Tory Burch black ballet flats inspire. I
Oh my
thrifted
gosh.
them. Yeah, we're twinning. I love it. Like, I
Literally,
don't,
we're the same.
right? Do you watch Gossip Girl?
No, I've been thinking about it because I've
You
heard it's good.
should. Yeah, you definitely should. And the reason I was bringing that up is because there's Blair Waldorf was like, "Are those last season's ballet flat, like Tory Burch ballet flats?" And like I bought and I thrifted my ballet flats because of that line. And I
Oh my
loved
gosh.
it. I know.
I didn't
was
even know
like,
about that. That's so cool.
so every time I wear my little Tory Burch thrifted ballet flats, I'm like, oh my gosh, last season. But like I know she was like making fun of them, but like I don't know. It's a kind of a thing with like the Gossip Girl community or whatever. People who are diehard fans, like everyone has their Tory Burch flats, which is why I bought them. I thought it was so cool. But I'm so glad that like I'm not the only one. And you changed my life. I'm gonna run, not walk, run to get those heels that remove into ballet flats because that's gonna solve all of my life problems. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I just saw it. I haven't even tried it, so I don't know how well it works, but I thought it was really interesting, so I might try it too.
That's so good because I love the way I feel like if I could just wear heels like Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City all the time, I would just look so effortlessly chic. But like the way I can wear them for like 10 minutes for like a little Instagram photo, and then those things have to fly off of me, and I'm wearing my like knockoff black Toms because I just can't handle the pain. But if I could go out, walk around the little high heel, and then just like sling it off into a flat, oh my goodness, the game has changed. So I'm gonna go buy those, and I will update everyone listening and see if they are worth the hype. So thank you so much. What a great answer. Okay, so speaking of all of the tips that you've been giving, and like we already kind of covered this with the shoes because I took notes in my mind and I'm gonna go and do this. But I just love hearing where other girlies get their clothes from. Currently I'm on the mission to find the perfect dress. I'm going to Punta Cana on August the 6th with my boyfriend. I'm so excited, but I want to find like the perfect versatile dress to like wear. It was a little bit nicer to wear to like nice dinners, but I can also just like walk around, go into the mall. Because like if I'm going to spend the money on a quality item, I want it to just be universal for everything almost, but I'm struggling and I have no idea where to find it from. Like I've been on the hunt. So what are your favorite stores to shop at? I want to hear the secrets. Like, where is your go-to places?
Okay, so honestly, I'm a big thrifter because I love to get like cool like I like to get brands, but I don't want to have to pay a lot for them. The thing with thrifting is it tends to be kind of a hit or miss. I love the thrift store Plato's Closet. Do you guys have Plato's Closet? And
Yes, like
yes.
absolutely. It's my go-to. It's where I go before I need like if I'm like I need a pair of jeans or if I need a dress, like I go to Plato's first and usually I can find something and if not, then I'll go to buy it new.
Right. That's smart because then you like go down from there to like the more expensive stores. Yeah, no, I love Plato's Closet because it's more kind of filtered through. It's like the trendier clothes. It tends to be like for more like young people. So I love Plato's Closet, but even Goodwill sometimes. I remember I actually found it's almost a little bit embarrassing to admit, but it was a really good find. I got my like freshman year homecoming dress from Goodwill. I got it for like $8, like a brand new dress, but it was just there $8. You would have never known that it was thrifted. So that was a really good find there. But like at Plato's Closet, I found like these brand new Abercrombie jeans there. So you kind of have to get lucky sometimes, but I've been pretty lucky. I've even been to the Goodwill bins, which if you've heard of the Goodwill bins, it's kind of has like a nightmare like kind of thing around it, but it's a lot of work to go through the bins and it can be a little bit like I guess gross because it just kind of it's all just like dumped there clothes, but I have found a few good things there with a couple hours of time. But yeah, I really like thrifting, and I think it's just a matter of even like a lot of these places like Plato's Closet, they have social medias where they post when they have like really good brands or like deals of things. So I like to follow those, and if I see something, I'll put it on hold and try it out. They have like the big brands there, and it depends on where you go. Maybe it's like kind of a wealthier neighborhood where that is, you might find better things. But yeah, I really like thrifting, and you do have to be kind of patient for it and kind of keep checking. It takes time to look through, but if you find something good, I think it's really worth it. But besides that, I do like to go to the outlets because they have a lot of sales there. And it does, I guess some of it is kind of not like what's exactly like trending right then, but I'm not huge into like I have to have like the latest thing. So I think it's definitely worth it for the sales to go to the outlets. Plus you have all the stores together, they're right there. It's really convenient. I also like H&M. They have a lot of basics there. I feel like it's pretty affordable. They do change things up too, but really for the basics, H&M is really good. It always has those basic t-shirts. And for maybe your more like business casual corporate kind of looking things, I go to H&M for that too. I also like Target, which I know you guys don't have Target, but it is really good for basics too, and really a lot of comfortable like sweats and stuff like that. So I like Target for clothes. It's not too expensive either. I also love to get clothes from just like places I go to. For example, like this sweatshirt I'm wearing says New Smyrna Beach. I got it. I couldn't even tell you what the name of the store is, but I just got it like on the beach. It was just right there in a shop. And I've been to that shop so many times because I live in Florida, so I'm only like 30 minutes from the beach. I live in like Central Florida area, so I'm about 30 minutes from New Smyrna Beach. And I couldn't even tell you what the shop name is, but I just found this there and this is like my favorite sweatshirt. It's super comfy. So I love to get like clothes from places I go, kind of like weird shops. Like I have a sweatshirt that I got from when I went to California. So I kind of just like trying like new shops and being like, oh, I like that like one piece. It can be a little bit more expensive like that, but I think if you really like a piece, it's worth it if it's more expensive. So I think definitely just putting like value in like if I'm gonna wear this a lot, even though it's more expensive, I think it's definitely worth it.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And that's something that my goal, or one of them for 2023, was to buy higher quality items because I feel like I was getting really into the Shein stuff. And like, I could find good quality stuff from Shein, but I was like, I want to start supporting brands that are more sustainable. So I always been a thrifting girl, but then I went really hard into that. But then I've noticed like I would go out onto shops like when I'm traveling or even just like out and about, and those little like more boutique stores have the cutest clothes, but I would never go and like buy an item because it was like $100 or like even 150, and I'm like, that's way too much. But then I was realizing like over the course of a month, by buying those like little $20 purchases, if I just didn't do that and just saved it for that one time when I walk into the little shop and I find like the beautiful unique garment that I would never normally buy because it's a little bit expensive, I feel like I could justify the expense. So I've started doing that. Like every little week I save like a little clothing budget for myself, and when I find like the dress or like the outfit, I'll just like buy it out of my little spending money because I find that's the best thing. So I love that you agree and you mentioned that because it's something I think people don't ever really talk about or like consider. So that is so fun. Also, Target, I love. I wish we had it here. When we go and visit the States, the first thing we do is run to Target. And then after that, we go right to Cracker Barrel, like my favorite restaurant
Oh
in the
my gosh.
States.
You know what's funny is I've actually never been to Cracker Barrel. I've never been. I don't know. I've just never like there's actually one near my house, but I've just never I don't know. I'm not a huge like I don't know, just never crossed my mind to really try it, but I guess I'll have to because I've never had anyone like recommend it to me.
Are you like, do you eat very, very clean? Like, is that, like, are you health conscious? Is that why you've never been? Or you just have it, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, like, meh, it's here, but just because you have access to it all the time, you just don't think to go.
I feel like maybe it's a little bit both because my family is pretty like clean eating. Like they've definitely I was like the whole wheat bread girl. Like I was always the kid with like the sandwich with whole wheat bread. So they've definitely like instilled that into me to be like healthier and like make good like nutrition choices. Both of my parents have medical like occupations, so they're very conscious of that and they've instilled it into me. And I try to be like healthier. But I think it's also just like I don't it's not a big thing, at least like right where I live, it's not like a big thing. So I know there is one, I think it's like under the highway near me, but I feel like being maybe my age, it's not as common to go to like sit downs as much because it's a lot of fast things. And if I do, when maybe I'll go with like my parents or something, we like to try like kind of mom and pop things that aren't like chains. So that's just what it happens to be. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of a combination of both.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last time I went, it was like once a year when we go. The demographic there is like 80-year-old men. So like
Oh,
that also
really?
could just be why. Yeah, because every time I
Oh,
go in, I just walk in. We're so excited to go to the little store because like we never get to go, and then just like 80-year-old men. So like maybe it just like that's why. Like maybe people who live in the States just like know like that's not the place for them, and like us Canadians, it's like the equivalent to everyone's like, oh my gosh, your maple syrup is so good in Canada or whatever, and like we're like, oh, like we don't really think about it like that. So it's just so cool to like see the difference and like between like people who live in different countries. But I love that. Okay.
yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, right. That's so funny. Okay, so this is a little bit of a faster question, but I need to know because I know that you're younger than me, and I remember when I was in high school, we had a like it girl uniform, and it was basically it consisted of black Lululemons, a jean jacket, and white Converse. Where every single girl, we didn't have uniforms at the school, but we might as well have at this point because every single girl was in that it girl uniform, and if like you were cool you had to wear it, and if like you weren't wearing it or something was different, it was like, oh my gosh. Like then again, I know you said already that you have like a diverse school and everyone has a very different fashion styles, which I love, but I'm dying to know, in your school, is there like a 2023 version of like the it girl uniform among everyone, or is there any common trends that are like the equivalent to it, or does everyone now just embrace their own thing?
I would say there are some common trends, but I wouldn't say it's quite as like if you're wearing this, like that makes you cool. I would say it's actually kind of similar to what you said. I'd say the black Lululemon leggings. I know Lululemon is still super popular. A lot of people wear those leggings. Converse, that's still very popular. It's very timeless. I think it's a go-to. They've just been around so long and they're just a really good shoe. I would say the jean jacket, I don't see people wear jean jackets at all. So I think that one's kind of gone. Yeah, I can't, that's not really something people wear a lot. I would say oversized clothing is something that's kind of been a trend for a while. So people like to wear that. Ripped jeans is always popular for girls. So those are like some more popular things, tank top with leggings or just like jeans with like a little top and the oversized t-shirt. So just kind of like, I guess what most people would consider kind of basic. I guess that's just a common thing, but honestly, I wouldn't say there's really an it girl uniform. I don't know if it's just like the demographic of my school or because it's kind of a larger high school. It just tends to be people kind of dress how they feel, but there definitely are like commonalities. I feel like especially between maybe like sports group, like the volleyball girls, they tend to kind of dress alike, but probably because they spend a lot of time together. Certain sports that spend a lot of time together, they just end up dressing alike. But definitely the Lululemon, that's still a big one. I would say PacSun, that's still a pretty big one. I see a lot of people getting like sweatshirts and pieces from there, but an overall like it girl like uniform, probably not at my school at least.
I love it. Okay, girlies, you've heard it from the source. The 2017 people that were in high school, our Lululemons are still in, which is so good because I feel like everyone who was in high school at 2017 has at least 3 pairs, and we invested all of our paychecks into it. The jean jackets, so true. And we did the same thing where we would save up all of our money because they were like $200 back in the day. And yeah, I have not seen anyone wear the jean jacket, but I'm glad to know that. I also just feel like even like regardless of age, I found in the last 5 years that like people just started to be more expressive with style and like enjoy it more. Like even when I go out to the mall or just like walk around the city, I find that like not a lot of people look the same other than like maybe if you're going to like a club or like a sporting event where it's kind of like you have to fit into a certain aesthetic kind of. But I feel like fashion is so like people are just owning it now, which is so nice to see that like not every single person has like a uniform and you can just be free to wear whatever you want to wear and just feel confident in it. So I love that answer, and I love that it's different for you because like that's what it really should be. Like fashion should be about just like being your own self and like having fun and like not feeling the pressure to wear like a uniform and spending all of your like paycheck on it just to like be able to fit in. So I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, it is really nice. I feel like that I don't feel that kind of pressure. I have heard like some other schools maybe around me that are a little bit smaller. They tend like people are more similar when it's smaller, but because I am at a bigger school, I think it just because of that, it kind of you just get a lot more like diversity.
I love that. That's amazing to hear. Okay, so my final question is, where can everyone find you? What are your socials? I know you already said you're the host of the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast, but I'm reiterating that so everyone can go now and listen to our episode that is on your podcast. But in terms of your socials, where can people find you?
Okay, so for the podcast, I have a TikTok and Instagram. They're both under the username Teen Thoughts Dump Pod. So you can go follow those. I post some try to do like a little bit funny, like trendy content on TikTok. And then on my Instagram, I try to do like kind of affirmations and announcements when there's new episodes. So those are for the podcast. And then feel free to follow my personal on Instagram and TikTok as well at Laura Gusky. That's just my name. So those are really all for my socials.
That is amazing. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I had so much fun chatting with you. It's so nice and just relaxing, especially after like a long work week or just like a long day in general, to just get to talk about fashion and just like a lighthearted, fun stuff. With that being said, I love a good thought dump, which is what you're all about, and that's what we're all about too. So everyone who's listening who wants to hear me spill the tea on mistakes I've made in female friendships, just female friendship advice, how to cut out the toxic people from your life, how to make great friendships and foster like a community, head on over to the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast, because that's the topic that we're going to be discussing on there. So head on over to that, listen to it, let me know how you think. I'm so excited to be collaborating. And until then, thank you so much for listening. Please go and rate the Get Up and Glow podcast on Spotify or Apple or whatever device you are listening to me on. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, we're starting to grow, and I'm so excited about that. It's at the Get Up and Glow podcast, and Instagram is directly linked from there too. It's the same handle. So thank you so much. And I just wanted to say, the overwhelming responses I've been getting from people just messaging me, giving me advice or just topics that they want to see or positive feedback, like it means so much to me. So thank you, each and every one of you who tried to like make an effort to go connect with me, or even if you don't and you're just continuously listening. I love that. If you are a listener who comes back, please follow me, message me. I will follow you back. I'll be happy to see it. I will hype you up. I love it. And again, Laura, thank you so much for coming on. I had a great time. I'm so excited to chat with you more. Go and follow the Teen Thoughts Dump podcast, and go and listen to the Teen Thoughts Dump pod as well. And all of Laura's podcasts have been amazing too. So go and binge her. If you like my content, you will genuinely also love hers. So thank you so much. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in. And until next Sunday, bye everyone.